Hey guys, how's it going? Shmoy, aka Baby Sham 33 here. So I was fortunate the other day, yesterday actually, I popped a Cavalier Crystal and I got a 7-star Ronin. Prior, I only had him as a 3-star, so I've never really played around with him. And the only time I fought him would be occasionally in, an event quest or arena. So I wasn't overly too familiar with all his abilities. I had a good idea of how he worked, and switching stances and so forth, but never in practice. As I said, having him as a max 3-star, I really never used him. But I've been playing around with him, and he's a bit more interesting than I gave him credit for. So just go over his abilities quickly. Passive: when a Ronin would miss an attack or be evaded, he gains a cruelty passive. This champion is going to be a lot about basically criticals, cruelty, and critical damage. Special attacks. Attacks using the sword have a 15% chance to inflict a bleed, dealing 652 direct damage over 7 seconds. Critical strikes using a sword have a 100% chance to inflict a bleed. So he was, a lot of his damage is going to be bleed, but he's not dependent upon bleed. Um, Also, if you can intercept well, intercepting attacks has a plus 683 critical rating. If a hero's bleed immune, he gains a cruelty passive when he would inflict a bleed. So similar to X23. Um, Ronin prepares his stance by performing light attacks. So if you use one light attack, prepares a guard stance. Two lights prepares rat stance, and three lights prepares demon stance. Dodging back after preparing a stance makes Ronin enter a stance. Stances are not affected by ability accuracy reduction. When entering a new stance, gain a cruelty passive increase in critical damage by 253, max 7 stacks. And then when you reach 7 stacks, 7 cruelty passives, gain a precision passive, increase in critical rating by 3807. So, that's really where you're going to start getting some pretty good damage from this character. Um, Guard stance, well-timed blocks, activate. So while in guard stance, well-timed blocks activate parry mastery, stunning opponents, even if their attacks is projectile based. Ronin gains 35% chance to perfect block. Entering this stance has a 100% chance to purify a debuff. And that's going to be very good if you run suicides or so forth. And we'll put that into practice a little bit. And also, while in guard stance. So now if you're going up against Yandu with the Yaka arrow, which normally you can't parry if you are in guard stance, or if you're going up, say, against Domino with where the gunshot, that's a projectile. You can actually stun them in guard stance. So, that stance would be helpful if you want to stay in that stance and fighting an opponent that normally there's a problem with stunning them. Rat stance. All attacks reduce defensive ability accuracy by 40%. Demon stance. All bleeds gain 75% ability accuracy and can be inflicted on blocked hits. So, that's interesting if you're fighting against, a magic or so forth. You want to have that ability accuracy. You're not worrying about her limbo, so you can stay in demon stance. Special one attack. Disorients the opponent, reducing defensive ability accuracy by 40% and block proficiency by 50% for 8 seconds. Um, Special 2 inflicts a bleed that deals 652 damage, direct damage over 7 seconds for each active cruelty buffs. So if you have, say, if you have the full 7 cruelty buffs, that's almost 4,000 total indirect damage. So not too bad at all. Special 3, gain a Fury passive, increase in critical attack rating by 372 for 35 seconds. Each active cruelty passive increases the attack rating by an additional 372. So same thing, you're about 2400, I guess. If you have, say, the full 7, and that removes all cruelty passives also. All right, so well, that's generally how he functions. We're going to test this character out a bit, and a fun way to do that, of course, as always, is going to be everybody's favorite punching bag, Winter Soldier. So the team that I'm using here, I should have just looked at his synergies. So it has a synergy with Captain Marvel movie, where the duration of the bleed debuffs is increased by 3% for each active cruelty. Has it has an Ant-Man synergy. It's not too bad. Gain plus 25% block proficiency in guard stance. This Guillotine one and Nightcrawler is not too bad. Ronin blocking attacks has a 50% chance to bleed the opponent, dealing 15% of the attack as direct damage over 5 seconds. So just holding a block or parrying can cause them to bleed. With Moon Knight, gain a Fury buff, increasing attack rating by 15% for 4 seconds upon switching stance. So every time you switch stance, you're going to gain a Fury buff. And then Black Widow's power gain. So not too bad at all. In this case, I am going to be using the Captain Marvel, Guillotine, and the Moon Knight. I'm using Nick Fury just because Nick Fury gives him, he's technically, if you look at the attributes, he is a hero, so Nick Fury is going to give him the additional 10% attack. Like I said, the Ant-Man one with the block for proficiency isn't bad, but I don't find that we won't be using that. So, but nevertheless, when he's in guard stance, he already has a decent block proficiency. So. Gonna go against Winter Soldier and kind of go through the paces and see how it works. And now, one interesting thing. So we're gonna medium. So basically, you're going, and there you go. So now you're in demon stance. 1, 2. So your first hit is basically the medium, light switch, and even when hitting into a block, you're still switching. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to be making direct contact to 1, 2 to switch stances. 1, 2, 3. So, like I said, it's interesting because one, you're not finishing combos as you normally would. you know, because normally you're like, okay, well, you're going for that full combo. And now I'm in the demon stance, and while in the demon stance, I'm gonna go let off my level 3. And when I let off my level 3, I'm going to take those 7 cruelty passives, and that's all going to be all directed into damage. And I am running suicides, but as you know, as you've seen, and as you see now, and I'm going to go into demon, and I've got that. Now, as you see, and just the bleed damage that I'm doing, and I'm going to start switching stances just so I can get back to my 7 cruelty passives. And as I said, if you feel comfortable with intercepting, you're going to really start doing some damage. So this time I'm letting off another level 3. But this time when I do it, like I said last time, I just kind of started going into a combo just to show what his damage was like. But now I'm going to and I'm back. And as you see, I'm getting those 5,000 crits. That was a 8,700 crit just between my Fury back in demon stance. I've got my Fury up. And like you'd start thinking like, all right, the whole switching stances thing, it's that's my fault. I went in for the intercept and not paying attention. The fact that he had a special, but it's all right. And he's down. And 145 hits, which would have kind of been, on Winter Soldier. It's not too bad. And that's kind of where I've noticed that I've been with regards to taking down Winter Soldier. So, not too bad at all. And we'll go into this Captain Marvel fight. And as you see, like I said, I'm running suicides. So I want to 1, 2, and it's really when you switch from it's really when you switch to that guard stance that you're able to purify. And get the disorient on the special one for the ability accuracy. Sorry, playing really sloppy. All right, let's throw for a special. And we're going to start. Switching our stances. And getting our cruelties back up. One, two. Guard stance. 1, 2, 3. Second stance. Demon stance. And like I said, the interesting thing about him is you don't have to, just hitting in the block in general will actually have you switch stances. 1, 2. Ah. I held the block and the damn thing just froze. Ah. All right. So that's all right. But basically, you get the point to that. Like I said, another interesting thing about this that I did find out about him with regards to switching stances is, let's see here now. We're going to do the void. So, of course, with void, the interesting thing is, sometimes fighting a void and you're trying to pay attention to that 10 count for when void is going to inflict that debuff on you. And sometimes it doesn't work out. And of course, if you're running suicides, you're worried with void because he's going to do all of that damage. 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3. So we are going to immediately get those debuffs off us. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And as you've seen, I've gone ahead and I've purified Void's debuffs. So I'm going to basically 1, 2, purified. 1, 2, 3, and that's it. So like I said, it's kind of keeping the rhythm of the combos. So if I'm fighting somebody that's debuff heavy or so forth, I want to basically keep switching between my guard stance, which is basically medium light, and then I'm going to so between that and I'm going to probably do the my second stance, which is the rat stance. And if I want to push it, I could just do the demon stance, with the so that'd be my medium, light, and then I'd back off. So the interesting thing is you're not really doing 5-hit combos, so it takes a little used to the play style, but then always go back to the guard stance. So no matter what, even if I'm fighting somebody that's big on debuffs, I'm continually purifying those debuffs if I'm fighting somebody like a void, just kind of paying attention to that. So it's interesting. And then with regards to his awakened ability, it's not mandatory for him, which is good because so many heroes it's like you're worried about their awakened ability and maxing them out. Um, his awakened ability is pretty cool and can be useful, but it's not mandatory. Um, so for him, while at 7 cruelty passives, Ronin gains a passive evasion on the next incoming hit for 0.63 seconds. And then, of course, that's going to ramp up based on his signature level. Um, in this case, this is level 9, and then this is a 3-star. Removes all of the cruelty passives when Ronin evades an attack. Successful evades do not grant stance abilities. So you evade, but that doesn't switch your stance or anything like that. And then when Ronin evades an attack, gain a Fury passive, increasing attack rating by 69 for 7 seconds, and that's going to scale based on your signature level. So you're going to do some more damage, yes, and then like I said, you're not worried about it because you have that safety evade. Nice to have, not mandatory for the hero. So, is he like a game breaking hero? No. If you're going up against like a do you bleed node, fantastic to have. Like I said, if you're worried about, fighting a void, that's his ability to shrug off debuffs, fantastic. Especially if you run suicides and so forth. He's a like I said, you'd think like switching between the stances and everything would be cumbersome, but it's not. It's the playstyle. It flows. He's a well-made character, pretty balanced, and his movements, they're not slow. Like I said, he flows and he plays very nicely. Easy to use. So he is actually pretty enjoyable. I do see why some folks like him, but as I said, outside of that, the damage is okay. It's not great. It's not lacking. You know, he definitely is a fun and interesting character to use. So, but that is my take on the character for now. And you know, if you have any questions or like to see some more gameplay on him, or take on certain fights or whatever, please let me know, and I'll try to accommodate. Please like and subscribe. Bless.